for any kind of high performer in field dealing with these situations is while they are playing above board and we want to play above board, they're also predictable. So I'm wondering if there's a way where we can play above board, but be unpredictable enough that it throws off kind of these imposter leaders. Because as you mentioned earlier on, which I think is so true, they've got a game plan they're executing off of.
Yeah.
And it's predicated on us reacting a certain way to their game plan. So I don't know if what I just said there makes any sense, but if it does, I would love to get your thoughts on what are some ways we can kind of throw those imposter leaders off their plan a little bit.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've actually had, as I was rising through the ranks, I really got some bad advice. And bad advice I would throw into the camp of, oh, just ignore them. People know what they're all about. Just ignore them and do your thing. All the way down to the other bad advice, which is go head to head with them and let them know that you mean business. Both are it's really, really bad advice to do either one of those. And so what you find yourself is in the middle. And you do have to navigate it successfully, but you have to do it. I always coach my executives to look at it for what it really is. What are they really trying to go after? What is the end result that they're trying to achieve? Because gaslighting and dropping the seed and manufactured conflict are all the tactics to ultimately get to an end result. And a lot of times you don't know what that end result is until you've kind of gone through this process a couple of different times. So that's what you have to manage. That's what throws them off their game, is if you know what the end result is that they're trying to achieve. Number two, don't get so involved in them and driving your energy towards them that you forget to perform, because that's exactly what they want you to do. They're waiting for you to trip up. They're waiting for you to make a mistake so that they can come in and say, see, I said she wasn't all that she's cracked up to be, or he's all cracked up what he's supposed to be. He's not really a high performer. We should take him off the list. So always focus first and foremost on performing. No one can ever take away a great resume. So don't ever give them the satisfaction of not performing your job to the best of your ability.
Is there any value in getting executive level sponsors or advocates or folks that are, in those meetings behind closed doors? So when they do try and either manufacture conflict or they're dropping those seeds, that there's a person there that can either give you information or gently shut it down. Would there be value in finding those kinds of allies?
Absolutely. And again, this is particularly true for women and people of color, that you do need to go. I always encourage to go to people that you trust and to ask them how best to navigate a situation. I always encourage them to present it as a possible situation or something that you may potentially want to avoid. I rarely ask them to ever disclose what you're actually going through, because most people don't want to carry that and have the burden of carrying you into the conversation. Keep in mind, they're probably going through the same thing at their level as well. So find someone that you can trust. There are always people at senior levels who are trustworthy, who will advocate for you at the table, who need to know that type of information. So find them and do disclose certain information. But again, I'm always very wary of encouraging them to tell the exact story.
I agree completely. And I think there's a great way to package that. It's always safe to package it under the umbrella of alignment. I want to improve my alignment with IT and the leader there. I want to improve my alignment with finance, and would love to get your counsel on how you think I could do that best.
Yes.
Because
and if there's a challenge of XYZ, how would you navigate that? Like, have you seen that before? Where have others been successful? And you're exactly right. Coach to where you want to go, not where they want to drag you to.
Yeah. And I think I want to go back to it because it's such an important point. You said, of course, don't just ignore them because you allow them to just keep having that mouthpiece, which I think is so true. But also going head to head is not a wise decision. And I think there's a lot of people that think maybe that is. And the reason why that's not a wise decision is if they truly have some level of narcissism as part of their traits and components, they are masters of emotional manipulation. So you are going into battle inside their dojo. Probably not a good idea. So you'll get heated and they'll just have a big smile on their face and say, I don't know why you're getting so worked up. We're just having a conversation. You seem to be really losing your cool. And so keeping yourself calm is so important in these situations.
It is. And that's why with a narcissist, I always say, just turn into ice. Do not be cool, calm, collected. Do not let anything penetrate you. Your thoughts, your words, and ask lots of questions. And I think that also throws these individuals off their game, because if they're accusing you of something that is not true, asking them a question back, and that's also a telltale sign if you're getting gaslighted, is if you ask a very good question back to them and they don't answer it or they avoid answering it, then you know you're in a sticky situation and you need to get out.
Yeah, beautiful. This has been great. So what areas have we not covered that we should have? Can you think of anything else that might be helpful for the listeners today? So they're outperformers, they're encountering some of these challenges as they're trying to navigate their way to leading the team and leading their organizations. Anything else we haven't talked about?
5 minutes.
I don't think so. I mean, I just want to reiterate, if you have all the characteristics of a great leader, right? If you're ambitious and you have intellect and you have character and ethics and integrity and you love leading people and driving great results, you will have a target on your back. Know that happens, be aware of it, and prepare for it. It's the best possible thing that you can do to be a successful executive these days.
Have you ever seen a case, Berta, where someone has taken one of these possible saboteurs or adversaries and flipped them into an ally or an advocate?
Not successfully.
Okay.
So I think some have attempted before they have come to me. And I think what they have found is the exact situation that you have talked about, which is it gets played against them. Mm. Because the thing about a narcissist or someone with sociopathic or psychopathic tendencies is that every conversation is to find out more about you to benefit them. And so you really have to be careful. Now, if it's a healthy conflict situation and the other individual and you just don't agree on something, and you have to work through it, you have to talk through it, but you both want the same end result, which is the best result for the company and the clients and your people, yes, those are the situations where you can create a better relationship after. But if you're dealing with someone who has their own personal interest in mind, absolutely not. Play it cool, try to get through the situation and come out unscathed.
Yeah, my experience has been very similar. I haven't had any cases where people have been able to get them to completely turn, but I didn't know if that was just my experience. What I have seen, probably the best outcome if the individual does have the narcissistic, sociopathic kind of tendencies, best outcome is they move on to somebody else. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that tends to be the best outcome. In the cases where I've had clients that have gotten one of those individuals off their back, they didn't necessarily stop doing that behavior. They just stopped doing that behavior directed towards them. And they went on to another department or another person, some other entity that they chose to target.
Yeah, and what you find a lot of times, in almost every conversation, I get why are they doing this to me? Why isn't someone stopping them? I'm going to battle this. I'm going to persevere. And my first response is get away from them as fast as you can. Because no one wins in this situation. Because they are going to drive it home until they finish the job. And you're exactly right. If you remove yourself from the situation, they will go on to something or someone else, which still isn't the right thing. But that then becomes an HR issue. That's not your issue.
Right.